Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged. This is the Mangina Dialogues. We at it again with your host Nick Scopes and the Gregolicious. You know how we do, cause you know we keeping it gangster and silly. Unplugged like a full swung titty. Bout get jitty, cause you know we down to the nitty and the gritty. And we make shit sound so damn pretty. Yeah, cause this unhinged comedy. And right now you're in the mix. So get ready, cause we bout to get it poppin'. And we ain't stopping.
Uneducated, unfiltered, unhinged. This the Mangina Dialogues. We at it again.
Hello and welcome to the Mangina Dialogues. I am your host, Nick Scope.
And I'm the Gregolicious.
And today, over the phone with the very high quality audio, we have comedian Bill Dawes. What's up, my man?
Hey guys, how you doing?
We're doing all right. Wishing the Zoom was working, but you know, what can you do? It's probably Nancy Pelosi's fault or something.
Oh my God!
We all know she invented the coronavirus. So
you're gonna go deep state right away on me?
I just love hearing this type of stuff. That's all.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
It is great. It's fun. I think at the end of the day, look, I'm a liberal and all that. I believe in a woman getting an abortion as much as possible. I believe in most liberal things, but it's pretty crazy what's going on right now, because if you are a Republican, if you have a dissenting view from the CDC or from Dr. Fauci, your shit gets removed from YouTube, from Facebook, from Instagram. It's pretty crazy. Like, I don't know if you guys saw that. Have you seen Pandemic?
No.
No, I haven't. I just saw something about it today, but I have not watched it yet.
Yeah, it's just an interview of a woman who's a scientist who's basically saying that money has corrupted scientific investigation and that people are being told to lock down because there's a race to create therapeutics and vaccines that are going to make people super rich. So it's in the best interest of certain companies and big pharma to keep the masses at bay until they find something where they can capitalize. So, like, if vaccines become mandatory, someone's going to make a lot of people are going to make billions and billions of dollars.
Oh, sure.
So if they convince people that they need to be locked down until there's a vaccine and they make it mandatory, then, you know, I don't know. That sounds pretty crazy that people are that fucking Machiavellian and evil that they'll do that. But what's crazier than that is the fact that a video a woman says that gets removed from YouTube and Facebook. She's not saying, like, aliens are taking over the world and evil people and you should go kill, you know, democratic leaders. She's just saying that there's money that's corrupted the scientific process, and she gets removed. That's so fucked up. In America, it's like we're in China. It blows my mind. But I guess I'm the only one who saw it, so whatever.
I'm going to watch it now. It is pretty crazy, because I did hear today, actually the other day, that if there is a vaccine available, that all the schools, both public and private, including colleges, are going to make it mandatory. If you want to come back to school, you need to get vaccinated, you know, for the coronavirus, not the flu or anything else, but, you know, in the same way kids, you know, I'm sure they still
measles
do.
Or
measles. Like, you have to be vaccinated from, you know, polio and all those other things that were those crazy diseases back in the other centuries or last century. And there's all this uprising that people still who are anti-vaxxers are like, I'm not going to get vaccinated. It's like, I don't understand.
Well, here's the thing about the anti-vaxxer thing. I think most people who aren't retarded will agree that most vaccines you need a polio vaccine, you need certain vaccines, whatever, smallpox, I don't know, measles. But a flu vaccine is very different. Like, flu vaccines have they have a 40 or 50% success rate, and that can actually give people the flu. So I understand. Like, I've never gotten a flu vaccine, and I don't think I ever will.
Yeah, I have. I've only gotten it a few times in my
same.
life. I mean, I think maybe twice I can remember getting a flu shot.
And one of the things that the woman says in Pandemic is she says, and again, I'm too dumb to really understand this, but she says coronavirus is an RNA virus, which means it's like a DNA strand, right? So she says there are no RNA viruses that have effective vaccines. So the vaccines that we have as kids are not RNA virus vaccines. They're different vaccines. Now, that seems like that's a pretty easy thing to prove or disprove.
Yeah.
But she's saying there's nothing on the schedule that shows an effective RNA vaccine that's treated with a vaccine. So if that's the case, then what the fuck are we waiting for? I'm a big. It's crazy how this is turning me slowly into a Republican. I never thought I would feel that. I never thought I would say that. But it's so fucking nuts. I go outside and people are like, stay at home. Parks and beaches are closed in California. First of all, you guys are where? Philly or New York? Where?
Outside
Philly.
New York City.
Outside New York, yeah.
Like I get, like you guys got to stay home because you're in the fucking hot spot and there's a lot of shit going on. And LA, California is huge. It's not that bad here, and we have massive room on the beaches. We have massive beaches, massive parks, and the fact that they're closed. If you go to any beach in LA right now, any beach in LA County that is officially closed by the governor, who put a mandate that they're closed, you'll see thousands of people, including me. Not because we're just fuck the government and we don't believe in coronavirus is fake, get her done. It's not that. It's just that we're saying like, hey, if we go responsibly to the beach, we keep our distance from people. Who the fuck? No cases are coming from people being outdoors, from my understanding. So all I know is it feels like there's some level of control being put on Americans and people in general that just doesn't feel right. It feels like we're not being told something. And if there is in any way any money is coming in at play to determine how governance is being enacted, that's a fucking problem. And a woman says that in a fucking interview and it gets banned by all social media. That is crazy to me.
Yeah. Well, on the other side of that, you have a worldwide economy that is basically shut down. So, it seems the conventional wisdom would be that you couldn't make enough money selling anything to make up for the economy loss worldwide right now. Right. Like, I watch CNBC. I never watched CNBC ever until the last 2 months. And now I watch CNBC every day just to sort of keep up with what the experts, so to speak, are talking about the economy. And just as they're talking about the billions of dollars that all of these companies are losing just in the 2 months of this, U.S. economic shutdown is unbelievable. If every person in the world in history going forward gets vaccinated, it doesn't make up for the money that Disney is losing until they're able to open up their parks, sometime next year.
Yeah.
So I just think there's a lot of that. That's there's certainly two sides to that coin. It's just a matter of how you want to, at what vantage point do you want to look at it from?
Yeah, and another thing that people don't want to talk about because we're in this weird thing where we're all under the thumb of Karens and soccer moms and entitled white bitches, where if you say anything that runs counter to what they feel or how it's affecting them emotionally, you're fucking wearing a swastika for some bizarre goddamn reason. That's how America has evolved. It drives me fucking crazy. I mean, I said it years before Bill Burr did in his special. I was like, white women are destroying America, because it's really true. Like, their point of view has gotten so, like, I'll give you a perfect example. I'm not going to name her name, but she's a pretty well-known comic out in LA and also New York. She posted a video on Instagram crying about people you have to stay home. I know people in New York who have it and they're sick, and I get it. It's bad. And yeah, stay home, flatten the curve. And she's like, the hospitals are going to be overrun. Well, guess what? The curve has been flattened. The hospitals, not only are hospitals not overrun, hospitals are going bankrupt because people aren't going to hospitals because they're afraid of getting coronavirus. And where's that fear coming from? Not from coronavirus, from the media talking about coronavirus. So hospitals are closing down. They're losing money. The methods of treatment, apparently putting on ventilators, isn't working. Hydroxychloroquine is working, but they're not allowed to use it anymore. So there's this big fucking problem. Stay at home. We stayed at home. The curve is flattened. We're not overrun. And we're still staying at home. And then I talked to this comic, and she goes, you know what? I kind of like this whole thing that we're all staying home. It makes me feel comfortable. Yeah, of course it does. There's a lot of people who won't admit it. They have family from either dad or daddy. You know what I'm saying? They either have a dad or a daddy paying for their fucking shit. They don't need to work. They're making more money on unemployment than they were as a comic or actress or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
Because the federal government is giving me, the federal government is giving me $600 a week on top of whatever else I make. That's a lot of fucking money. And there are people who work a lot less than me and do a lot less who are also getting that $600 a week, and they were not making that much before that.
Oh no,
there are people who
the unemployment is definitely the current unemployment situation with the money people are able to collect is definitely going to lead to a bigger problem than what could have happened, right? Because what I think where you're going is that people are making more money on unemployment than they do while they were working whatever job they had.
Yeah.
So there's no incentive for those people to get off of unemployment, and it's absolutely true. I can tell you as an employer that's happened. So my company laid off some people. We went to bring them back, and they chose to stay on unemployment, which is kind of a dumb decision, because if you are in touch, in tune with what the rules are and what they're saying now, and I even saw it again this morning, that if you get offered to come back off of unemployment and you choose to stay on unemployment, you lose your entire unemployment if that employer chooses to fight it, or report that they offered you your job back and you chose not to. So not only would you lose your unemployment, you lost your employment, and you have to pay back the money you received from the time that you were given the opportunity to go back. So it's really and most people don't even think about that. They're like, whatever, no. And then they could get screwed like double, triple.
Yeah. No, that's like I know some friends who are flight attendants, and they have options to be on call and get paid to be on call where they work for the jobs. And I think it's a certain amount of money.
Yeah.
But flight attendants being flight attendants, they just want to travel the world and have fun for the most part. They say it's kind of true. They're just taking unemployment. They're going, okay, I'll take a voluntary leave. They go on unemployment. They make 600 plus whatever the care package is for their airlines. So they probably make like $900 a week. They still fly for free, and they just travel the fucking world, and they go without having to work. That's a pretty fucking great gig. So why? Literally, they were like, oh, why go back to work? That's literally the attitude of why go back. And these aren't necessarily lazy people,
right?
But if all of a sudden you have this magical thing where you can just travel the world and do whatever you want and make all this money, why would you go back to work? I mean, it's different for us maybe because if you're an artist, you're creative. All you want to do is be an artist and be creative. Like the idea of not going back and doing stand-up again drives me fucking apeshit. So like I would go back. I would rather lose my unemployment and make less money doing stand-up, obviously. But a lot of people aren't like that. I would say most people aren't like that. They're like, I don't have to work. Thank God. And you have people like AOC, that dipshit, talking about how, hey guys, if they make you go back to work, fight it, revolt. Don't go back to a job just so you can barely make minimum wage. What are we inculcating in America? We're telling people not to work and just be on the dole. Like, what is the incentive here? What do we think we're going to get? Do we really think that a collectivist socialist society is going to be what is going to make America best? It's obviously always been a balance between socialism and capitalism, but this whole bullshit about unfettered capitalism is destroying the world and what we need is socialism. It's like, it's driving me fucking crazy. Like I said, it's turning me into a goddamn Republican, and I hate it because Republicans are fucking nerds.
I don't disagree.
I feel you, dude.
I don't disagree.
I feel you on it. Every time, like, I've voted. I'll be honest, like, I've voted all Democrat mostly, right? Ever since I was able to vote, and now I can't do it anymore, man. Like, there's some stuff, like, I think you nailed it earlier when you were talking about people's emotions that are getting out of control. Like, there's no facts anymore. It's just raw emotions. No one takes time to think or look at things in a certain way. They just envision, like, I'm on the blue team, you're on the red team, whatever you say is wrong. Like, there's no one can think for themselves anymore. Yeah. It's just all emotion. Forget about facts. and I can't deal with that. That's something I just can't get on board with.
And here's the thing that I don't know if this is true, because again, the only reason I started even entertaining Republican ideology a little bit is because my dad is a Republican. He's one of the best humans I know. My brother is a great guy. He's a Republican. I was like, well, they can't just be stupid people, stupid and evil, which is what I always thought. So I started looking into it. I started going, okay, I get it. It's a lot of times it's about people who are angry, a little bit nerdy, and they have this thing. And then I started doing deeper cuts, and I started realizing that there is very much a liberal agenda in the media that I've always believed in. And when you start really opening up to both sides, you kind of go, okay, there's a lot of manipulation that I've been falling for. For example, here's a real quick example. They said, William Barr, how do you feel about exonerating Michael Flynn? He goes, well, history is written by the winner, so history will be the judge. And people are like, what a piece of shit asshole that he said that. That's just a snide, snarky comment, blah, 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 blah. That's what John Oliver, who I fucking love, says on the show. And it's NBC, everyone talks about it. The full clip is him going, history will be winners decide history. But I think I made the right choice. And I think it was fair and justice was served and injustice was undone. And you're like, wait, that's actually, he just answered the question. But they use that first part just to make it look like he's a smug piece of shit. I go, that's kind of fucked up. Why would every liberal news outlet just play that one clip, not the comma, but when he answers, he made a just decision? Because everyone's going, why didn't he just say he made the right decision? He said it, but they cut that sentence. So it's just shit like that you start like opening your mind to, like, why am I being manipulated so much? What end?
Do you ever watch Fox News though? Like seriously?
I mean, I can't get behind Fox News. I like Sean Hannity. I want to punch him in the face, but I also want to punch Chris Cuomo, that hypocritical, white fucking cheating piece of shit. Fuck that guy too. He's like threatening bikers when he's out in public with a bunch of people after telling everyone to stay. All these assholes who are saying stay home, locked up, quarantined. They're cheating on their fucking wives with mistresses. They're fucking like out riding bikes. They're out getting their haircuts. They're all fucking full of shit. I used to think that Republicans were the ones who were hypocrites, but now it just looks like liberals are hypocrites. So it's just drives me crazy.
Oh, it's definitely on both sides now. Like it's generally like I'm pretty liberal, like socially wise, like all that's like I don't really care. Like don't tell me or a woman what to do with their body. Like I'm not gonna don't judge someone because of their race. Like I'm not gonna get with that. Like on the fiscal side of like not getting a lot of taxes taken out of our checks, I get it. Why Republicans want that. I look at the taxes that are taken out now and I'm like, God. But it's hard. It's like there's a lot of guys like me and you that are like kind of like floating in this middle ground now that are like, what the hell is going on? Because as much as the right has, they a bunch of old, just to generalize and be funny here, like a bunch of old rich white dudes that want to tell minorities and women what to do, essentially, right? Like I'm very much generalizing and just trying to be a dick here, right?
I think that's what it was for. I think that was for a long time. That's what it was. Yeah.
That's what it was, right? Now on the left, like now it's hey, don't tell me what to do with my body and don't judge someone by this. But if you call me by the wrong pronoun or offend me in any way, I'm gonna ruin your life. And it's like, well, me saying what happened to freedom of speech? Like me saying stuff shouldn't learn how to keep your emotions in check.
Yeah.
And this outrage shit. It's like, and that's not my problem. If someone came up to me and made fun of I don't know, like I'm Italian. They made fun of Italians, or they made fun of the fact that I'm bald or some shit. It's up to me and how I handle it. Yeah. Like it's not me. Oh my God, you piece of, why would you do that to me? It's like, no. Like it's not up to me. They're a random person.
Yeah. So, yeah, but you know what? It all comes down to humanity, right? Like, so for me, I used to be a Republican. I voted Republican every single election, every single line up until 2000. I take that back. Up until 2004, right? So whenever Obama was elected, that was the first election I ever voted Democrat in ever.
Oh, that was 08.
Everything up to
Yeah.
that, I voted straight across Republican because my father and mother were Republican. Well, my father's deceased, but he
Of course.
was hardcore Republican. My mother still to this day, like there's no telling her anything. So I just sort of went with the corporate like line, right? And wasn't necessarily thinking for myself. I sort of course, liked lower taxes and smaller government and all of those things, which I still stand behind. But to me, it comes down to humanity, right? Especially these days. You have to live in a world where you need to be caring for everybody around you, not just the people like you. And that, unfortunately, is the only line that the Republican Party stands for, is if you are like me, you're good. If you are not like me, you are not. So, and there's no way I could, as a responsible human, stand in line with those people. Never.
Yeah.
Right. And to me, that's my personal, like, living with myself and sleeping at night. I'd rather be able to put my head on my pillow and say, I'm confident that I'm a good person, even if I have to pay a little more money in taxes, but I know I'm not a racist.
Yeah. But wait,
Right.
what you just said, are you saying that you feel that? Because I feel like what you said, which makes total sense, is exactly the truth for the Democratic Party now. That if you don't agree with what we said, you're a piece of shit. If you do not agree,
no. It's well, I think that there's a lot of that in both places. If you don't agree with me, you're wrong. Right? There's no question that's a constant in both parties, right? But to me, what I'm saying for myself is that I rather be wrong about certain things of the Democratic Party and, their holier than thou image they want to, say that they stand behind, or not even really holier than thou, but you know what I'm saying, as opposed to what the Republicans stand behind is, if you're poor, you suck. You deserve nothing. If you are in any way an immigrant, you shouldn't be in this country. If you are a person of color, you don't get shit. You should be our slaves and go back 150 years. I can't get with that. I can't get with someone saying, if you're a woman, you don't have a right to choose. Right? There's no chance in 2020 that I can get behind a party that stands behind that.
Yes, of course. I agree. I think that the only place where I think that what you're saying actually really holds water is the woman's right to choose, because the other stuff is sort of a little bit subjective. I think you could talk to like most Republicans and they're not going to say fuck immigrants, fuck black people, fuck, but most Republicans will probably believe in a woman, in their pro-life, whatever that bullshit is. But so the other stuff I agree with. I used to think that Republicans were just like racist and stupid, and I think the party line for most people, particularly young women who are Democrats, are like, you're either there's no two sides. There's the right side and there's the evil side. They literally believe that, ingrained in them since like school, and that's wrong. If at the very least, you should be able to address the fact that there are two sides, and it's not a moral question of like the dark side. We're not in fucking Star Wars.
No, of course.
There's two sides, and at the end of the day, it's about big government or small government. Right? And a smaller government entails more individual responsibility and more liberty, and the big government entails more collectivism and less liberty. So there's validity to both, because a collective government like China can do good things in some ways. They can bring up people together in a way that they don't feel so isolated, and the financial disparity isn't as much. But collectivism also squashes individual liberty. And look, the fact that both the First and Second Amendment are like on the chopping block right now is a little scary. I don't really give a shit about the Second Amendment, but if hate speech laws get enacted in America like they are in other countries, it's gonna be fucked up, man.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't realize this, that America is literally, I think, the only country in the world where we have an amendment that is built into the Constitution and the founding of the country for free speech. Other countries, like in England, you can go to jail. In Canada, you can go to jail if you say something against fucking monarchy or whatever the fuck it is. Or if you use the wrong pronoun, you can get fined and all that crap. I mean, I know comics in Canada who have gone to jail for what they said on stage.
Well,
in America, we've gone past that, but it feels like we're heading back to that. And that's what's crazy to me. I mean, I understand that YouTube is a private company and all this stuff, but the fact that you do an interview with a woman that's not an incendiary interview and it gets taken down, or something like Ben Shapiro, who's just like a nerdy Orthodox Jewish guy who's probably on the spectrum, who doesn't seem like a hateful guy. He just talks about, hey man, hey, blah, blah, blah. He just spurts out facts with the machine. There are riots when he goes to speak at college campuses. It's crazy to me. I just don't understand like where I fit in now as a liberal person who believes in women's right to choose, who believes that everyone should be equal and blah 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 blah. Like, where do I fit in when the Democratic Party is so fucking maniacally monolithic in how they view things? I don't know what to do. I just like Joe Rogan should be president. We should all follow him because he's the only person who's like moderate and somehow people are okay with it.
Well, I don't really buy into. And it's based on a few things. I'll just say it. I don't buy in that the overall Democratic Party is going the way of socialism. If that was true, Bernie Sanders would still be in the race, and he would have done 10 times better than he did. But he didn't, right? And whereas AOC has a big voice, she doesn't have a big platform, right? And I would think, or at least put money on the side that she gets voted out, even by her people. Right, because she's been too vocal with her positions on things from a person that has no basis of experience besides 1 year in Congress.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that the overall Democratic Party looks at some of those things and kind of is like, haha, nice try, but we know where we stand, and we know if we're going to make it as a party and be able to make change, there's no fucking way we can go down those roads. And I think it was made obvious by how many votes he did not get.
Yeah.
Because if people believed in that platform, he would have slam dunked Joe Biden into submission out of the gate. And you can't just put it on that one election in Georgia or wherever, South Carolina. That's a cop out bunch of bullshit, right? So there's no support there for that within the party. There just isn't.
Well, what's funny about that is there is support for it, like in younger people. But the bottom line is, and John Lennon proved this back in '72 when he was trying to get Nixon out of office, young people don't come out to vote.
Right. Exactly.
They talk a big game. They like the virtue signal. They like to be all fucking woke and shit. But they don't come out to vote. They're not going to wait in fucking line because they're too fucking entitled. So they just like, Bernie, 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 and most of them don't even fucking vote.
Yeah.
Above 18, like 18, they're trying to figure out how to get laid. They're not They're not. A very small fraction talk and go, oh, the young generation, they're really politically motivated. No, that's a very small percentage. Most of them are just like, hey man, I'm trying to fuck this girl. What should I do, bro?
It's so true.
They're all. We could do a hard left turn. We could also talk about this shit with the accusations against Joe Biden, because I do feel that culture and politics are sort of, they've merged together in such a weird way because we have a reality TV president.
Yeah.
That, look, obviously the Me Too thing was important. It's necessary, but like any other movement, it's crazy how the hypocrisy just kind of starts sinking in. Like when Christine Blasey Ford came out and went after Justice Kavanaugh, I was like, I'm at the, like, as a liberal, like you are, I'm at a point when there's an accusation or something happens, I go, please don't be full of shit. Please, 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 Justice Smollett, please add that in a hate crime.
Yeah.
Please don't let these Republicans win on this one. And sure enough, Justice Smollett's a piece of shit liar.
Yep.
Christine Blasey Ford, I'm like, please don't be a dizzy twat coming out with unfounded, uncorroborated allegations. And then it is, and you're like, ugh. And then this other woman comes up, this Tara Reid, who looks like she's nuttier than a fruitcake, and she sounds like she's nuttier than a fruitcake. But the truth is, she has a lot more corroboration for her accusation than Christine, like 10 times the corroboration Christine Blasey Ford did. She has, she obviously worked with Joe Biden. She has contemporaneous witnesses. She has her mom calling to Larry King. She filed complaints. I don't know. So the point is, that's at least a lot more vetted and a lot more potentially true than the Christine Blasey Ford did. At least in the court of law, it's more true.
Yeah.
But Democrats all of a sudden saying like, oh, we believe in Joe Biden. Well, what the fuck is your believe all women shit? You can't say believe all women only when it works for your side politically. Some fucking cunt. It drives me crazy.
Yeah. Well, that's both sides. Like it is very hypocritical on both sides. Like when it's convenient to take one position, you take it, and when it's not convenient, you take the opposite position. There's countless examples of that. As someone that has had political aspirations, I Thank God I put that long aside. No, if I ever ran for any considerable office, right, and I put myself in those people's shoes, and now by no means am I saying that I've done anything that I think I could go to jail for abuse of a woman. Obviously not. But I mean, anyone that went to college and went to fraternity parties and hung out in bars, everyone has said something, either joking or maybe half true or half serious, while they were 19 years old or 20 years old in college over, X amount of drinks, that 40 years later someone could have some vague recollection that you grazed by them in a bar and touched their hip the wrong way, and and that can happen to anyone, right? So to me, unless there's some like hard facts that you could back up, I don't give a shit who you are, that it's kind of in one ear out the other ear. Prove it. And just because you say it happened doesn't mean it did.
Yeah, of course.
So, and that goes for everybody, right? That's in whatever the accusation might be. And especially when you want to go back accusations that are 10, 15, 20. I can't fucking remember Saturday, let alone something that happened to me in a frat party 21 years ago when I was in college, right? I think that's incredibly unfair to put anyone on trial over that. Unless, there's a video or there's 100 people that were there, like the movie fucking Witness, or where the girl got raped on a fucking pinball machine. Like, that's different.
Yeah.
But these, half-assed accusations that are conveniently dropped while someone is getting, potentially put on the Supreme Court, I would look at that on whatever party that is. I would look at that as kind of like half-baked at best.
Yeah. So, but you got to go back in time and look at the Christine Blasey Ford thing and how the media, and look, we got to at least be honest and address the fact that other than crazy Fox News, the media is liberal. It just is. It just does have a liberal bias. I think that, and I think I've become more present to the fact that is just the fact of the matter. They want full in with Christine Blasey Ford. They're like, the brave woman, this brave, strong woman, and they just made her this goddamn hero. And she came forward with allegations that were garbage. And the other women that were like, I was at a party, I was sitting on a couch, and Justice Kavanaugh's friend took his penis and put it into my hand. First of all, how big is his penis? Like, I've never even, logistically, that makes no sense to me. A guy took his penis and put it in your hand.
Well, you know what I think, like, to that, which I think is actually taking this a little step further. Al Franken, right, comedian, is on tour, on a USO tour, which I think you've been on, right? So he's been, he's on the plane with someone, makes a stupid fucking joke with his hands like he's going to squeeze some girl's boobs that every single man, probably half the women in this country, have done, whether it's to a friend, to a guy, whatever. And that he has to fucking resign Congress over that. That is insanity, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, let's talk about something else.
Well, there are also like 6 cases of him grabbing asses and pictures, but and I love Al Franken.
Yeah, me too.
Right.
Me too. That's an absolute fucking shame. So let's transition to something more fun to talk about. You were a former.
Let's talk about
wait,
comedy.
Wait.
Let's talk about Bill Cosby.
Wait.
Oh, sorry.
I saw on your bio that you were a professional break dancer. I just need to know a little more about that.
Oh man, back in the day. Let me go in the way back and see.
Like, that's not something you can breeze over.
I went to school called T.C. Williams in outside of D.C. And like I said, my school is 70% black, 30% terrified. And so it's a typical thing where, like, you're young, 6th, 7th grade, you start like a breakdance crew. And then you start competing. And then, every once in a while you make a little bit of money. But that happened. And then you're like, wow, I'm really not getting laid with the fat laces. Like, girls aren't digging. The white chicks that I'm in the running for are not digging the fat laces and the parachute pants.
Right.
Then I got into like Bruce Springsteen and flannel, all that shit. Classic rock, because you're in high school, you don't know who the fuck you are. But when I got into college again, and I started college is way too fucking expensive. I went to like a Ivy League school is way too expensive for me. So I needed fucking money. So one of the things I started doing, I auditioned for like nightclubs to be a go-go dancer. Not like Magic. It's like Magic Mike adjacent. You know what I mean? Like I would dance on like blocks and clubs, and sometimes. One time I did have to wear a diaper. When I was But then I was, so I was basically a go-go dancer in a lot of college, part of college, and go-go school. I was in a hip-hop dance company. And then when I got out of college, I booked a bunch of commercials breakdancing for Spanish television. And then, it's like every year your body is like less and less inclined to do that shit. But yeah, so professional in the sense that like I made money breakdancing. I made a significant amount of money breakdancing.
Well, professional enough that you put it on your website. So I mean, shit.
Professional enough that I was able to buy my apartment in New York with it. I'll say that.
Wow, good for you.
Jesus,
God
dude.
damn it!
I'm jealous of your life, man. I want to be a breakdancer.
Not anymore. Trust me. If you saw my apartment now, I got evicted from my apartment in New York, and I lost everything. Long, awful story. That's for another day. I had a corrupt, awful lawyer who basically he was just corrupt, and he put a lien on my apartment while he was defending me, which is a conflict of interest. So that when I tried to sell it, I couldn't because he said I owed him some indefinite amount of money, even though he'd never even given me a bill before.
Wow.
So I almost lost with my apartment. Anyway, so now I live in like a 200 square foot apartment in LA. So don't be jealous. Trust me.
Well, also I wonder, the high school you went to, remember the Titans high school?
Yeah, that's my high school.
That's so fucking dope. That's awesome. Was the football team good when you were there, or what?
When I was there, like they were just starting to suck. Like when I was in elementary school and middle school, they were still really good. I think they were nationally ranked at some point, but then by the time I played for them, because every team needs a kicker.
Oh yeah.
They were shitty. They were pretty shitty. They were no longer good. And I think, and so funny because Sports Illustrated actually interviewed me about when the movie came out, and I think I was so pissed off because I was in the perfect age to be in the movie, and I played on the team. And there were parts that I felt like I should have fucking played, and at that time I was pretty athletic. And I didn't even get an audition. I was like, I go, imagine how fucking cool if I'd been in a movie about my fucking high school as a football player when I played. Like it was just, I was so pissed I didn't even hear about it until I saw the fucking movie. That when Sports Illustrated called me about it, they asked me, they're basically, why does TC suck at football now when they were such a huge powerhouse? And the answer I had was like, look, when TC started, there was a whole white v black thing, and it definitely fostered a lot of healthy and unhealthy competition. But in the end, eventually they became a team because basically what happened was, real quick, there was an all-white school and all-black school. This is crazy because it wasn't that long ago. This was like 71. And then they built a school. They built TC Williams with nobody in it. And then they matriculated both the white school and the black school into this empty building and were like, go. Which is crazy. So it wasn't like a slow integration. It was like, is it all black people, all white people? So needless to say, when that school started, it was just fucking race riots and fighting, and it was like prison.
Wow.
But the football team is where the white people and black people came together. And all the best white players, all the best black players, eventually they were so fucking competitive that you couldn't beat them for years.
Yeah.
But when I got there, by the time I was playing there, and this is what I said to Sports Illustrated, I said it was a black team. Like, it was, the black players were captains. The culture was black. Everything about playing that team was black. There was no white v black. I was one of 2, maybe 3 white players on the team. So because of that, there was a different sort of, there wasn't a culture of competition and bringing each other up. It was something much more nefarious going on, which at that time, this is in the 90s, there was like, there's a lot of drugs and a lot of crack and a lot of drug dealing. And a lot of these kids that were playing football were getting introduced by some fucking nefarious people who introduced them to dealing drugs. So, like, I would drive kids home after practice to the ghetto, some of the players, and they'd tell me the whole story. They would say, "Oh yeah, these guys, the starters, they're all dealing drugs." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, it's true." I didn't really believe him. And then, of course, before my senior year, the first day, our star offensive player, he got arrested for dealing drugs. And a couple of years, right before that, years before that, another guy. So it was obvious they were all, and they would come in, they were scared, they acted differently. There's a lot of whispering going on. They would show up with like grills and fancy shoes, and it's like, that's not going to lead to a championship football team.
Yeah.
We have people who are dealing drugs at night. So I said, yeah. I said the competition isn't there. There isn't sort of regional opponent because this is a black school, and they've been subsumed by like drug culture. And a lot of the players, when I was there, were dealing. And fucking T.C. Williams basically said, "Never come back to the school again." But it was true. It was true. And what's fucked up about it is that one of the assistant coaches was a cop. He knew what the fuck was. They all knew what was going on. If I knew what was going on, and I'm like the fucking second string wide receiver and kicker, the coaches fucking knew.
Yeah.
With these kids are from the ghetto, they show up with like a new car. You don't know what the fuck is going on. People knew.
Of course.
And the amount of people that were arrested for drugs and with intent to distribute at T.C. Williams when I was there, people knew. But they just, it's like when people get all mad about the Catholic Church and how they like let pedophiles, run rampant. The truth is, with any culture, any society, any microcosm, you just close in the ranks whenever there's an issue. You think you can handle it. I don't think these coaches were evil people, but I think they just fucking like, okay, there's people dealing drugs. Let's not let it. Let's try to foster some goodwill and take care of them. And they can go to the cops. They're not going to report them. They're going to get a star player fired from their team. So, yeah. So anyway, I think that Sports Illustrated article. And I think I really said it because I was just so pissed I wasn't in the movie.
I'm gonna hunt down that article. I want to read it.
Yeah. I wonder if it's online.
So, what brought you to comedy?
I went to graduate school for acting at NYU.
Right.
And I was just like, one day I'll be in a playbill. That was the height of my ambition. Like I wanted to be on a playbill, like those yellow playbills.
Yep.
One day I'll be, and I think I was in school and I saw a playbill and God was like on Law and Order. I was like, oh my God, he's on a playbill and he was in Law and Order. And I thought that was like the height of like making it. So then within like a year that happens and you're like, oh wait, that's not much. So then I just was doing new plays and theater and I loved it. It was what I was trained at doing. It's maybe some stuff I do best. But I started getting really kind of pissed off about the fact that when you go to graduate school and you come out of graduate school, you're kind of taught that playwrights and writers have divinely shit their words out from the asshole of Krishna, and that as a lowly, stupid working man actor, your opinion doesn't matter. You're kind of a puppet to these genius playwrights and directors. And as you start working, you realize that a lot of these playwrights are fucking idiots. Most of the directors are fucking idiots. And that some of the smarter people are actors. And then you go, well, at least the actors are as smart as the directors and usually as smart as the writers. And I started feeling like, wait a second, I'm fucking smart. And why am I being told that I can't do this when I know that this is right? Well, I can't say it. So I did a play. If you want to Google something, Google this. This is fucking hilarious. I did a play in New York called Burning Blue about gays in the military. And I wanted to change one word in the script, literally one word in the script. And the playwright was this fucking uptight, anal, arrogant, stupid motherfucker named DMW Greer, who wouldn't let me change this one word. And I was like, it'll make it funnier. One night he let me say the one word. I said it differently. Got a huge laugh. I felt so rewarded. I felt like, oh, I know what I'm talking about. He's like, Bill, you got to put it back the way it was. I'm like, David, it worked. Didn't you hear it work? It doesn't matter if it worked. You got to put it back. Trust me. You're just an actor, Bill. I'm the writer. And when you said that, I was like, fuck this. I ended up getting fired from that play. The New York Post an article about it on the front page of the entertainment section called Naked Aggression. So if you type in Bill Dawes, Naked Aggression, Burning Blue, that will be a very funny article to read.
Oh, I definitely going to do that.
Naked Aggression. So anyway, and that was kind of, and because we got fired from this high profile play in a very high profile way, I wasn't blackballed necessarily from New York theater, but it definitely hurt my reputation, and I'd gotten great reviews, and all of a sudden I'm not getting opportunities.
Right.
And I think it's connected. So, and in a way, it's okay because I was also really annoyed at how things were shaking out and how my opinion as an artist was not qualified to make any adjustments or changes in scripts because I just felt that was stupid. So, a friend of mine was like, we should try stand up. And I've never been really someone who expressed myself vocally. I was always like a dancer and very physical and shit like that. But I was like, all right. So when I started, I was a weird, like Dane Cook knockoff, just like kicking the air and compensating with a lot of energy. I still do that, by the way. I still compensate with a lot of energy. But yeah, so I just got drunk one night and I went on stage and I fucking bombed and I had two realizations when it happened. One is bombing isn't that bad. Like you see bombing in a movie or a TV show, wherever, like Fame or something. You think it's the most horrifying thing you would ever experience in life. The concept of bombing, being on stage where there's crickets, it's so cringy. If you watch it like in anything, it's like, ah. But then when it happens to you, it's not that bad. I mean, it sucks, but it's not that bad. So I realized, A, it's not as bad as I thought it was. And B, like, I don't want to keep bombing.
Right.
So I started doing open mics and bringer shows, and I think Gotham Comedy Club in New York got me into prom shows, so I started getting paid. And then I auditioned for Jamie Masada at the Laugh Factory, and then he passed me there, and I was the house comic at the New York Laugh Factory. So that was kind of the beginning of it. And then from there, I just started like asking headliners. I asked Jamie Kennedy to tour with them, and then built up my own hour, and I've been headlining for the past, I would say, 7-8 years.
Yeah.
Now, yeah. So there it is.
Do you spend, obviously pre-COVID, were you spending most of the time on the road, or were you kind of, just doing the LA, circuit on a nightly basis?
I would say it was a combination of the two. I was touring. I've done the road, so I didn't really want to be like just a road dog, like people who were on the road for 300 days a year. That's crazy. But I was probably going out maybe like 4 months a year, put almost like, I don't know, like every other weekend or so, or every few weekends.
And was that opening for people, or is that on your own, or both? A combination of
some of them would be me headlining or me doing one nights, or like I'd get random requests like, "Hey, can you come perform at a prison in Washington, and we'll pay you, $2,000 to come up for do 2 shows at a prison." Right. And I'd be like, "Okay," and somebody's like, "Here, we have a corporate thing where," and then I toured with Jay Moore the past year or so, America. I toured with Monster Bronny internationally for a few months. Been touring with Jeremy Piven a little bit. So yeah, I like touring with comics to actually bring people to shows, because when I headline, I don't have enough of a fan base in like Tupelo to bring out hundreds of people.
Yeah.
If I go to, but there are certain clubs, like when I go to Vegas, the Laugh Factory in Vegas, it has like a built-in audience of people. I do have fans there, but there's also a built-in audience of people who just want to see comedy, which is what it used to be back in the 80s and 90s. People they wanted to see a comedy show.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a headliner? Okay. But now it's sort of, it's kind of changed. I don't think people are really going to spend money on headlining comedy shows unless they're going to see the headliner.
Right.
In Vegas and casino is a little bit different. They're at a casino, they want to see a comedy show, which is good and bad. What's good about it is that you can get more fans. What's bad about it is like you'll have these Karens show up to the show, and within 10 minutes I say cunt and they're walking, and I'm like, all right, well, you could have clicked on you could have Googled my name, see what I talk about. Figured it wasn't for you if you thought I was going to do a bunch of jokes about Whole Foods or doing puns like Jerry Seinfeld. Like, that's not what I'm doing. Like, that's your fault that you came here, dummy. Spend $50.
That sucks. I mean, for them. For you, you got their $50.
I mean, look, I never want to walk anyone. I don't like it. Like, I would rather these women, I would rather people watch me and not want to like me and be offended, but still laugh and go, well, he was a little, and that does happen. There are people like, you know, some of the stuff were a little edgy, but I like, you know, whatever. But I can't really, every time I try to make myself into something else other than who I feel like I am authentically, it just doesn't work for me. And I think, I don't know if you guys saw Louis C.K.'s new special on his website.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I mean, he talks about the fact that, I thought it was amazing. I thought it was one of the best. And he talks about the fact that, sort of explaining his kind of nature about being what he says is like a bad person. And he just said when he was young, you know, some like homeless guy called him all these bad words. He was like, oh my God, like he absorbed it like it was a superpower. And so he just has this need to provoke people and to be naughty and to make people uncomfortable because that mischievous makes them happy and it like fills them up. And I think there's something about me, it's like that too. It's like if someone doesn't want to walk, if at least one person doesn't want to walk during my show, then I feel like I'm doing something wrong.
Huh. So do you do
not
would you do the same, like so that's your position, right? To have that. Do you do the same material if you're, say, opening up for Piven or Jay Moore on the road, or do you keep it more like middle so you don't have someone get up and walk out?
Well, Jay Moore is pretty fucking offensive. I mean, he's pretty fucking edgy. So I can say whatever the fuck I want with him.
Right.
With Jeremy, he has a little bit more of a background and he's newer, so I have to kind of and Maz Jobrani is family oriented. So when I do Maz, I have to be PG-13. I can't really be R-rated. And now I personally don't think I'm a dirty comic. I'm not like in my mind I'm not that dirty, but I guess some people think I'm dirty. I don't know. It doesn't feel dirty to me. So I definitely I'll give you a perfect example. I'll go to a place like Reno, which is sort of like Vegas, but more crystal meth, less teeth, and a little bit more right wing. Like guys will show up with the flannel, their cowboy hats, their arms folded, their beer gut. There's a lot of that, and I like this. I love performing red states because they're not going to be as offended as much by the language.
Yeah.
If I do a joke about trans stuff or whatever, they're not going to be, how dare he talk about pronouns. Like a simple joke, like I said, I thought about going to date with a vegan and how she wanted like a chicken with a backwards K and no E, and how vegan food can't be. I said vegan food is like the transgender of food. It's like I'm a soybean, but I identify as a buffalo wing. Now, Republicans will not be offended by that, but a lot of liberal women will be. Now, I don't think that's an offensive joke.
Dude, that fucking joke is amazing. Like, that is such a good and smart joke.
Yeah, but believe it or not, there are people like that joke is offended. That joke is offensive. And so, and I address, I go, like, first of all, they said that joke is transphobic. I literally have been told that by obviously white women. I go, it's not transphobic. I go, I'm not transphobic at all. I think people should fuck whoever they want, but I'm also not a fan of surprise dick. Like, I don't want to go down on a girl like, you got me again, Tinder. So, again, that's not offensive to me. Like, what is offensive about that? How is that transphobic? I mean, literally, I am talking about being afraid of being with a trans person. But that's also like, that doesn't mean I don't think that people should do what they want to do. But I don't think people should fucking literally Trojan horse their fucking horse dick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just don't think that's I think that's wrong.
It's uncool.
Yes, and I've been in situations where women have been coming on to me, and I'm like, wait a second, there's a long hand right there.
Yeah, right.
And and look, and I'm not saying if you are a woman, if you were transitioned, For man to woman, you are a woman. I will accept that. I will address you as she. I will use whatever pronoun you think is right. I am not going to fuck you. Does that make me transphobic? I mean, I might fuck you if I'm not aware of it, but does that make me transphobic? I don't know. Some people would argue it would, which is to me is just fucking stupid.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Anyway, my point is, I segue. The joke is, I go, so if I'm a bunch of Republicans, I'll do a joke. I'll go talk about my parents. I use the word retarded. I go, that's retarded. And I go, oh wait, can't say retard anymore. What's the proper term? Oh, that's right, Trump supporter. And I'll do that in Reno, right? And then I'll look in the audience, like, oh, I'll go, okay, fine. Let me rephrase it. This works better. I go, you can't say retard anymore. You have to say Hillary supporter. And then they fucking applause break. I go, just so you know, when I say Trump supporter in West Hollywood, I get body surfed out of the room. And I just talk about how I think everyone's full of shit, and Trump supporters are full of shit, and Hillary supporters, everyone's full of shit. And most Republicans, I find, get on board with that.
Yeah.
Most Republicans, whatever liberals think, most Republicans get on the board. Look, Republicans know that Donald Trump is a fucking dolt. They're not going like, he's a fucking genius, mastermind. A lot of even the dumbest rednecks in the planet are like, yeah, he's a big fucking dipshit. They know that. But they also kind of like him. You know what I mean? He's like your dumbass friend in a fraternity who would like crush his head with beer cans. You're like, what a dummy. But, you know, he's my boy.
Yeah, totally true.
So I think
Greg.
So a lot of people think Republicans are a bunch of fucking idiots. Like, how could you support Trump? Unfollow me if you voted for Trump. You know what? The truth is, people support Trump for any number of reasons. My dad is hardcore. He's always been Republican. Eisenhower Republican. He voted for Trump. He also knows Trump is a bit of a dipshit. You know, but he just likes the policy, and that doesn't mean that he is sacrificing all of his morals to vote for Trump. He's just like, well, it's the principles I believe in. My dad is a nerdy Republican. He's always been that way. And the fact that people, peers of mine, friends of mine on Facebook and social media and Twitter are saying that my dad is evil. Well, you know who else is evil? Jeffrey Epstein's evil, and Harvey Weinstein, all these fucking asshole pieces of shit, Democrats in Hollywood that are fucking raping kids and using their power to fuck women. Like, the idea that morality is ascribed to only liberals from a liberal point of view. And of course, Republicans feel the same way. The only difference is I think the Republicans I think now, ironically, Republicans have more of a fucking sense of humor about how their party's a little bit stupid and nerdy. And I don't think the liberals have any more sense of humor about the liberal way going too far.
That's probably true. Or accurate.
Just my experience in comedy clubs.
Yeah, that's what you're starting to see. It's starting to, oh man, it's just wild. This is a great conversation, by the way. This is all the things I think about all the time. So this is awesome. So we got to get this out there. So Bill, when's the last time you performed before all this shit happened?
Well, I've done a couple of Zoom comedy shows, but you know, I tweeted like doing Zoom comedy is like having sex with a condom. Like you'll do it, but you don't prefer it. And hey, at least you don't get a disease, right? So, it wasn't able to perform comedy again for 2 months. I just find other ways to be creative. It's really about being creative, you know.
Yeah.
Last time I performed was March 15th, which I think was the last show in LA. And the LA Times wrote an article about it. So if you Google my name in LA Times, article will come out about on March 15th because I hosted the Laugh Factory, and I did a couple jokes about it. And they talk about they talk about how weird it was to be, because that March 15th was right when people were starting to freak out.
Yeah.
We didn't know much about the disease. We knew that it was rapidly escalating, and the doomsday models were already in effect. So on March 15th, if you were operating as a comedy club, you were only doing it waiting for the shoe to drop. You knew it was going to happen any day. A lot of clubs, like Comedy Store, are already stopping shows. A lot of clubs are already stopping shows. The Laugh Factory is like, we're going to go until we're mandated not to go. And that was the last show we did. And there was a weird feeling, like someone coughed in the audience at one point, and you could hear a pin drop after that. You know what I mean? So now, look, I don't know how many people end up getting coronavirus from that night.
Okay, right.
But
111.
I do think it's going to change. It's going to obviously going to change culture at large. It's going to change everything and how we interact with people, which is I think is a good thing. Like I don't want to shake hands with people. I definitely don't want to shake hands with women anymore. Ugh, that's also stupid. They're always trying to overcompensate and like squeeze too hard. Like I have a firm handshake because my dad was in the military. Whatever, lady. So, like shaking hands is gross anyway. I don't want to keep hugging people I don't know.
I know. I can't. I'm so psyched about the no hugging thing. Like, it's the most awkward fucking social greeting for people. Like, you know, it's one thing if you're like good friends with someone and you haven't seen them or whatever, you hug them. But like, I'm so fucking psyched about not having to see a business person or an acquaintance or an acquaintance's acquaintance that now I have to fucking hug them when I leave a bar because their friend hugged them. Like, it's so refreshing to know that that shit's done.
Yeah. You know what's also awesome is like the amount of white people that are going to be fist bumping now. So funny to me. like the nerdiest white Republicans are going to be fist bumping. Like that's hilarious, man. You never fist bump it. Remember when Fox News, when Michelle and Barack fist bump on the DNC stage? They're like, "Is this a terrorist fist bump?" That was the time when I was like, "Oh, Republicans are stupid. Terrorist fist bump? What are you talking about, you dipshit?" I was 100% convinced it was only Republicans that were in the wrong. Now I think they're both bullshit. But anyway, so but now people elbow bumps. All these, it's like white people have to all of a sudden like be hippity hoppity with their fucking their greetings and shit, which is hilarious to me. So what the fuck was I saying? I'm just rambling here.
It's all good. I'll tell you what I'm not doing. I'm not elbow bumping anyone. I will just avoid the ridiculous look of an elbow bump.
Yeah, let's just.
You know?
Let's do Japanese things. Just do the little, like a little bow.
Or what's wrong with just saying fucking hello? Hi.
Hi, yeah.
It's real easy. You can do it from 3, 4, 5, 6 feet apart if you have to.
Yeah.
Anyway.
There's a reason why it didn't spread Japan the way it spread Italy. Japan, they do their little bow, and they move on. They don't touch each other. And then in Italy, they're kissing each other like 14 times when they see their fucking grandma.
You know, that's so true. I bet you there is something. I mean, I'm sure 100% that there's something to that. For them. Anyway, Bill, we've done so much awesome time here, but I wanted to say thank you. Is there anything you want us to promote for you before we
definitely.
wrap?
Look, I had some caffeine. Don't take everything I said so seriously. If you got offended, by me saying and stuff like that, instead of getting mad at me, think about, and I think this is really true about everything and everyone. Think about why it offended you.
Yeah.
Like really, why it offended you, and figure out why you're a cunt that you got so offended. Because that's really what it boils down to. Because we don't get offended by stuff that, if someone said to me, "Hey, you and your needle dick," or whatever, I'm not going to get offended because it's nothing I have a problem with. But if someone said, "You and your fucking beer gut," I'd be like, "Wait, fuck you, motherfucker." You only get offended by shit that you're insecure about. So a lot of these women that are acting so high-minded, they're really getting offended because a lot of people are getting offended by people leaving and doing stuff. They're insecure about the world going back to the same.
Yeah.
They're afraid of the world going back to the same. They love being in their little bubble. They love being in the bubble of their depression and all that shit. So I think that hopefully what people may get from my comedy, whatever else, you know, is that a larger idea of what it means to be offended and how actually being offended is a good thing. It helps you expand your mind. It helps you, if you know what you're offended, just everything. And I think that being offended, it helps you look at different sides of things. It's an opportunity to look at different sides. And I think that hopefully the only thing, I mean, look, promote-wise, just put my name, Instagram, Bill Dawes, Instagram and Twitter and all that shit. I'm mostly on Instagram now and social media. I can't really get into the TikTok. I tried it, but you know, well, you're a dancer, you should do it. It's like,
do it, bro. Come on.
Yeah, but I just think people gotta we got to get over this offensive, or at least understand that being offended is actually a good thing, because it helps you understand what you're okay with, and if you're not okay with something, you have to figure why you're not okay with it. I mean, I'm not going up there going like, yeah, man, I fucking believe like Hitler had a point and all that shit. Like that's just bad comedy. But if a joke about a soybean identifies a buffalo offends you, like what it's your responsibility to tell me why that offends you.
Yeah, or take a hard look at yourself and feel like, what the fuck? It's just a joke about a goddamn soybean.
Yeah.
You know. Anyway, you can check Bill out in all those places, and he also on his Instagram does amazing handstands. Usually in nothing, so be prepared. But they're fun.
Yeah, I might stop doing those. I don't know.
No, don't stop. That's great. I like when I scroll through your Instagram one day, I'm like, oh, look at another one. He's naked on another cliff.
I've lost so many fucking male followers because of that.
I think it's hysterical. I really do. I think it's very funny.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, it's your fault you zoomed in, motherfucker.
Yeah, what are you looking so close for? Yeah. All right, man. This was awesome. This is a really good time. Really appreciate your time. Stay safe. Keep it.
Thank you. You too, guys.
All right, man.
Yeah, thank you. This was an awesome combo, man. We will definitely connect in the future.
Yeah, we'll catch up soon, Bill. Thank you.
All right, sounds good.
Take care.
Guys.
Bye.